This is Diesel for We the People. I'm not an attorney. It's always a good idea to check with the attorney. I am one to get less involvement with the government as possible. I just wanted to say this is a learning channel and ideas for how we can set ourselves free from government. But whatever I say, do take it with a grain of salt. This is for some out there that's willing to take a little risk to get a little bit more freedom from the government. Okay? Just to remind you guys, I'm not totally against government. They do have their place. Okay? I'm more against them intervening in our lives as much as they do. Okay? That's what I'm against. Now, this is contract, marriage, divorce, government. Alright? Now, this is going to take with a grain of salt with some of y'all out there. I'm going to go with the way it's been going on for years. Okay? So, we're going to use God in this. Just to, well, more of anything else, just because it's always been known that way, alright? Alright, so, in the early days, kings and queens got married to benefit the country. Everybody should know this, but the ones that don't know it, yes. That's the reason why they did it, is to benefit one another's country, and made their country into like two countries into one. It benefited them, okay? But all marriage is a contract. It's the biggest investment you're going to make, okay? Once you get married, everything you should do is for the whole benefit of your family, your house, your bank account, your sons and daughters, one another's spouse, is to benefit y'all, okay? And when this comes about, the marriage is a contract. Technically, by God, man, woman, okay? But the government had to intervene and put themselves in your contract, all right? So that way they become, quote, quote, the husband, okay? They put themselves to have authority over you and have control over you. That's the reason why every time you get a divorce, you must ask permission to get a divorce, okay? You must ask permission to get married. And most people probably don't even think about that, but sit and think about that for a minute. If you decide to get married, what do? You got to go get a marriage license. When you do that, you are asking the government permission to marry the person you love. When you get a divorce, you're asking the government permission to leave the person that you once loved. Now, I'm using these words as terms that y'all understand because, you know, with some of my other videos, person's this, person that, and don't understand this and don't understand that. I'm just using these words for y'all to understand a little bit better on this, okay? So the marriage is a contract. And just like every contract, you should go through a whole list of things before doing that final contract, right? Instead of waiting until it's too late. When you get married, you're at peace. Agree to terms with one another when you are in love and everything is running good. Okay? Where there is no anger, no this and no that. For lack of better words, children. If we get a divorce, what are we going to agree on if we get a divorce? Okay? Why you guys are in a happy state of mind, not a mad state of mind, right? And what would be the side effects if one another leaves the union? Okay? If they cheat or they steal from one another, they hide this and they go, variables of part of life, right? If the husband ends up being abusive or the wife ends up being abusive and this, that, here, and there, okay? You guys got to set a contract lining out what would be the issue and what should you guys do if this comes about. And that is going to be a side contract from the marriage union itself, but stapled together to wink wink marriage license, right? And if anybody shall leave this contract, it's a broken contract. There's got to be a consequence. Okay? If you guys live in the same town, 3.5 days with one, 3.5 days with another. Now, you guys will think, well, we're trying to do things that's best for the kids. No, what you're doing is best for what the state and lawyers telling you is best for your kids. Alright? You're letting them tell you what's best for your kids. You're not doing it. Sit and think about it. Some of y'all already been divorced. Okay? And y'all didn't have any say. Now, I'm a side effect of a divorced family myself. And I'm not going to get deep involved. The children is injured. Okay? Period. Just because of that right there. And now you tell them they can only see their father every 2 weeks on a weekend. Okay? That causes harm to the children. Or your mom every 2 weeks on a weekend. That causes harm to the children. Been there. I've done that, and I hate them. I hate the state of New Mexico. I hate the attorneys, and if I can find them, I probably would commit harm upon them for being so stupid and blinding my parents. Alright? I still have a problem with it, and I'm 51 years old. Alright? And most kids, believe it or not, feel the same way I do. And if you guys think about it, if you guys are through that situation, y'all probably feel the same way about it. So, you do the consequences of the side actions to benefit while you're in a good state of mind, how you should do this just in case it does happen. Okay? And don't let the lawyers and the state take control. Don't let them mislead you. Alright? When they say think about the kids, think about the kids. Don't listen to what they're saying. They don't know your kids. Alright? Now some of them don't want to be fathers full time. Some of them don't want to be mothers full time. Well, there's a contract already written. Alright? And, there can always be a twist of a different contract. We really don't need these attorneys as much as everybody seems to think we do. We really don't need these judges as much as we seem to think we do. And I don't have a whole lot of room to talk on this part because I been married for 27 years, had a kid before marriage, and I suffered the consequences of that action, okay? and it didn't benefit me at all. So the marriage thing, having kids before being married, is not a good idea. Regardless what anybody says, it's just not. It don't help the kids, and don't help the woman, and don't help the father. It just don't. So you guys have to play with this on y'all's terms, because every marriage, everybody is always different lifestyles. But if we can get most of our contract done without the government, we don't need lawyers and we don't need government. Alright? Now there's circumstances when it needs to be done. I understand that. But I'm just talking about during the beginning. And if there's not, a great harm of violence against one another during this union. Okay? I'm talking about just, marriage, spouse cheating, or they just fall out of love, and they just, all these little things, okay? So, when we talk about violence, that's a totally different deal, that may have to be handled in a totally different way. But the cheating and all that. Because even with the killings, now there's despite and anger. Nobody's going to look for the best interest of the kid. Alright? That's the reason why you had this contract before, and why you guys are in love and in a good state of mind. Why you guys are acting in honor. Alright? When there's problems in there, now you're going into dishonor and despite. Alright? And you're going to have to see some friends. And this is what I recommend. Alright? 2 witnesses from your wife. 2 witnesses from the husband. All around the table. You two agree on these terms. You sign this contract in front of them. Alright? They sign it. You sign it. Alright? From that day forward, it's a contract. She gets a copy, you get a copy, and the marriage license, it's stapled to the marriage license. That way, wherever it's at, y'all have it. Okay? And I suggest 2 marriage licenses. And when I say marriage license, I'm talking about the marriage license y'all created and not the state. Okay? Reason why there's benefits on taxes is so they can draw you guys in. So they can steal more money from y'all. And when you guys do get a divorce, the first thing that comes out, child support, child support, child support. Take half the house, take half this. You guys should already do that anyway. You guys have been married, you build up this nest egg, and you guys no longer doing it. It's 50-50 now. Alright? If you have boats, cars, this, that, here, and there, split it in half. Alright? Sell everything. Damage is done. She don't get the house. That's 50% yours. He don't get the house. That's 50% yours. You just sell it. And use that money to benefit one another on opposite sides and proceed forward on your lives. The kids, 50-50. Quit torturing the kids every 2 weeks about visitations. That harms the kids. It don't harm y'all. That's despite. I know. I've been through it. Alright? So, if you guys want to do these things and talk about it before marriage, is even better than that. So that way when you walk into marriage, you fully understand the consequences after getting married with the contract that you guys decided to follow through with. So as soon as you're married, these contracts you agreed with, when and shall have kids, you guys know what to do if it does end. Again, that's my opinion, and if I did it, I would have done it the other way around. I would have found me a preacher. I would have probably paid extra and had the preacher marry me and have real witnesses, and it would be between me, God, and my spouse during this contract, and not me, God, my spouse, and the state. Okay? Once again, government's gotten out of control, and we lived for centuries without the state intervening. We did not need to ask permission to get married. And I understand there's certain things in way back in the old days, how they did things, but we're not talking about the old days. We're talking about now. Old days are over with, and we're talking about the future. So just to let you guys know, the marriage is a contract between you two, and you are in a partnership with one another to better your family. And when y'all pass, whatever you communicated, gained, is bettering your quote children. Alright? Birth certificate. Again, it's a contract giving the state power over your children. So when you sign a birth certificate, you put all rights reserved after signing it. Alright? Now there's a couple of words that I'm looking into that you may want to add to it, but on this video I'm not going to add to it. I'm just going to put all rights reserved. Okay? If you want to add personal property, also, I'll put it in the newspaper. Your children's name in the newspaper, and put on there specifically that they have not been abandoned. Because the reason why the hospitals do it is because the state tells them they must to put it in there because the child has been abandoned. Okay? And it's the stupid games they play. Now, you don't have to believe me. And that's fine. But, safe than sorry. Put that newspaper clipping with your marriage license. Alright? And believe it or not, at one time, even in the United States, and I think it still happens to this day, when Jewish kids are born, that's what they do. They stick it in the newspaper and take authority away from the government of saying the kids are abandoned. Alright? Now, this is hearsay, so don't take this as facts. Okay? This is what I heard from a couple of Jewish friends of mine way back in the day. And if I just listened to them way back then, I would have been a little bit better off today. But I've been married 27 years. I raised most of my kids. They're grown. I have no business interest in this video whatsoever because mine has all been taken care of. And if me and my spouse should get a divorce, I don't want nothing. She can have everything. I don't care. I'm not a greedy guy, I worked my butt off on my years to take care of my family. So I didn't lose nothing. That's the reason why I worked. So if we get a divorce, all I just need is a couple little things and I'm good to go. I'm not a selfish man. I don't need a whole lot. That's just plain out and simple. Anyway, this video has gotten a little long. I just wanted to kind of come through here and discuss how we can kind of pull away from the government and be more responsible for our families. Take it with a grain of salt. If you must, use attorney. Average divorces cost $75,000 on each side. The reason why it takes so long? Well, it's because it costs more money. The longer it takes, it costs more money. If you already had this contract out and done anyway, you can give an attorney and one day you divorce and everything's settled, right? It's not going to cost you $75,000 on average. So, and I cannot stress to do this when you guys are in the happy mode, because you're going to have trial and errors and some doozy ones. You're going to have thoughts. Why should I keep going? Why should I keep going? Okay? It happens. Some people are strong enough to deal with it. Some people ain't. Okay? For decent we the people, just a little idea to keep the government out of our lives as much as possible. Till then, bye y'all.